There's something that's been happening lately online, and it has to do with people putting the cap back on their injection device, whether it's a syringe or an injector pen, and they're running into a problem. And I want to talk to you about it because I don't want you to make this mistake. So let's go over it. If you're new here, hey, I'm Allie. I'm on a fantabulous weight loss quest, and hopefully you'll subscribe, come along for the ride, because I put out new videos every day. If you are new to GLP-1s, make sure you check out my newbies playlist where I answer all of your GLP-1 questions. So, putting the cap back on. I am noticing that there is a trend of people that, for whatever reason, they're getting ready to take their injection and they're taking the cap off and then putting the cap back on before they've done the injection. Here's why you don't want to do that. I'm going to show you a short clip and then I'm going to explain. So in that zoomed up clip, I'm sure you were able to see that inside of the injector pen, the person had taken off the cap, something came up, they weren't ready to do their injection, and so instead of leaving it like this, or choosing a time to do their injection where they could do the process from start to finish without interruption, they decided that they were going to put the cap back on the pen. Now, for some of these pens, it can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so this one went on fairly easily. And what ends up happening is people are, in a hurry, they put the cap back on and they bend that needle. Once you've done that, you've just made it incredibly difficult to get your injection, right? Obviously, you cannot inject with a broken needle. Now you're getting on the YouTubes trying to figure out how to get the medication out of the pen. So that can be very challenging. I don't recommend it if you don't have to. So how can you avoid this? Make sure that you are setting aside time to do your injection from start to finish without interruption, okay? Whether you have pets, whether you have spouses, whether you have roommates, whether you have family members, whether you have children, whatever the case may be, you need to choose a time that you can take your time and take your medication without interruption. I do not recommend that you take the cap off until you are 1,000,000% ready to do your injection. You so much as touch that button. And this is how people have injection mistakes. I have a video on that. You can go check that out. Specifically, today we're talking about putting the cap back on. So for many people, they just kind of shove it back on, and that can 1,000,000% bend your needle and absolutely ruin your day. So as you can see here, I've tried to put it back on and it's not going. So I'm going to try to line it up with the needle again. And I'm just very gently kind of trying to get the cap back in. Is it bending? No, not yet. So you just have to be careful. This one is obviously already used. I'm just using it as an example. But you have to be very careful. See, I can feel that there's so much tension right there, so I know that that's not good. You may have to jiggle it back and forth to get it back on. It may not go all the way back on. I'm not sure if you can see that little gap there, right? The key is don't be in a rush to take your medication. I'm seeing the same issue when it comes to these guys. Now, when it comes to these guys, it's a lot easier to get to the medication. You just get a new needle, you draw it out of your syringe, right? And you're okay. Not the end of the world, but I have seen many times where people have taken off the cap and then they've drawn up however much they're going to use, and then they're putting the cap back on, and they either A, do it upside down, right? Which, as you can see, that's solid. Or they put it back on, they're in a hurry, it's at an angle, and now you've bent your needle. Again, this, not so much end of the world. Doing it with this, you're going to be really mad at yourself. So, take your time. Don't be in a rush. If you are in a hurry, you're trying to get the kids out the door, it's shot day, you don't have time, you're running late, then set an alarm on your phone and do it when you get home. The difference of doing your injection from in the morning to later that night when you have more time, all the kids are in bed, it's quiet, you're relaxed, your spouse is watching football, right? And you can just kind of, okay, I can relax and do what I need to do, right? That is a much safer situation to do your injection. A, you don't have to worry about somebody bumping into you. And B, right, you've got the time to go ahead and do it so that you don't have to worry about, oh no, Sally needs her shoes tied, right? And so now you've got to put the cap back on. Just set aside the time. If you need to postpone it till later, even if it's the next day, it's not the end of the world. So, trust me, you would much rather postpone your injection by 24 hours than to have to try to figure it out how to get it out of the pen. Not fun. Okay, if you found this video helpful, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the ride. If you're new to GLP-1s, make sure you go check out my newbies playlist and check out the links in the description box below. If you're looking for the protein, food, and shake reviews, there's a playlist for those, and those are also linked down below. And as always, be kind, rewind.